Hi, my name is Alan Williams. In this video we're going to have a look at a brand new product that just came out from Tableau called Tableau Prep. It provides an interface to bring data sets together and combine, shape, and clean the data for analysis. It's a very nice looking tool. It's brand new, so the idea here in this video is just to give you an introduction into some of the capabilities of Tableau Prep. Before I get started on Tableau Prep, those of you that already use Tableau know that you can have multiple data connections in a Tableau workbook, and you can cleanse that data to some extent within the data source pane. So for example, I have a connection to the global superstore Excel file. I can add a connection to the superstore returns file, and I can join the returns. Tableau's already automatically done that because it recognized the join field. So we do have the ability to bring in data from multiple sources. We can rename fields, we can create calculated fields and so forth, and then we can save this as an extract and publish it to Tableau server or use it as a basis for other workbooks. So this works very well with Tableau already. The benefit of Tableau Prep is you can create these predefined workflows, have it publish the data extracts or hyperfiles up to your Tableau server for consumption. So the functionality, being able to use multiple sources already in Tableau, but the way that you can do it now with Tableau Prep is makes it much more intuitive and gives you kind of a structured application to perform this type of work in. So this is the interface of Tableau Prep. I've created a test flow here just to see how the application works. I'm going to be rebuilding this during the course of the video. So some of the functionality within the product are the ability to connect to multiple data sources, so it can be databases, text files, Excel files, etc. It allows you the ability to cleanse your data, to group and replace data, to pivot your data. If you want to perform aggregations on the data, you can perform it with this tool. You can also join and union data sources that you've selected, and then the final step is to output your the result of the flow into either a TDE file, Tableau Data Extract, or a hyper file, and then you can either save it locally on your workstation, save it to your network, or you can publish it to a instance of Tableau server. So in this video we're going to be walking through the process of getting this flow set up. Before we go any further, I should mention to you that Tableau Prep was just released earlier this week. It's a brand new product, and it probably does have some issues that need to be resolved. In the case of this test flow that I created, I was able to put it together. I have a connection to my local instance of SQL Server and also to a text file that has some data in CSV format. However, when I try and run the flow, I get a message that an error has occurred while running the flow, and if I go up to the top right and click on the error message, it's telling me what happened, but it's not telling me where the error happened and what I can do to fix it. So I know that my connection to SQL Server is fine. The connection to the text file is on my local machine, so it should work. So I'm going to try and recreate this flow using an Excel file and a text file. Basically the same thing I've done here, but eliminate SQL Server out of the mix just to see if it works. Anyways, just thought I should mention that. Brand new product. Tableau is usually very, very good about fixing issues with the software. I'm sure they'll have something that provides more detailed error messaging in the near future. I'm going to go ahead and create a new Tableau Prep flow, and I'm going to add a connection to an Excel file. And so this Excel file basically has the same data that was in the query I was running against my local SQL server. So there's about 65,000 rows in this. The source of this data is from the Microsoft AdventureWorks sample database. So I'm just going to open that connection. So we can see that Tableau Prep brought in this Excel file. It's showing me a list of all the fields and field types within that file. I can go ahead and change the field names at this point if I want. I'm going to do that in a separate step along the flow that we create. So this is kind of nice. It gives kind of a bit of a snapshot, the field names. If you have changed the field names, what the original field name was. You can also add filters at this point. I'm going to do that a bit later. And it gives me some sample files about what's in these different fields in the database. I've got my raw data from the Excel file. Now I want to add a step to start cleansing the data. So I just add step here. I don't specify cleansing. By default, when you add a step, that's the type of step that gets created. So now for each one of the fields in the data set, I can see the field names, the type, data type that it is, and also some data that's in each one of these fields. So there's a few things I'd like to do here. Just want to scroll over to the right and let's see. So we've got this gender field, F and M. I just want to create a calculated field to have it show male or female. So from this down arrow here, create calculated field, and the calculation dialog is just like it is in Tableau Desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and create my formula. So the formula is, I'm just using the IIF function. If it's the gender equals M, then I'm saying male, otherwise female. So I can say apply and save. So what it's done here at the end of the list of fields, sorry, not at the end, it's probably at the very start. At the very start, it's added a new field in this data set called gender name. So I can go ahead and get rid of the original gender, because I don't need to have them both. I can drop down and say remove field, and I still have my gender name field. So that's one example of cleansing the data with Tableau Prep. The other thing I want to do is this year column, calendar year, because in the database it's a number. In this case, I want to change the data type to a string. So any Tableau workbooks that use this extract will have the data as a string. We've made a few changes to this data set so far, and what I really like about Tableau Prep is this functionality here. So if I click on this arrow, I can see each one of the changes. So I've added a calculated field for gender name, I've removed a field called gender, and I've changed the type of calendar year to string. Now I'd like to add a filter to the country name to have it just be the United States. So I can go and click on filter values here, and it's the same thing, it's a dialog box. So my filter is English country region name, which is the name of the field that holds the country, equals United States. Click apply and save. So now we're just seeing the state provinces, in the state provinces field, just United States. So I also, since I've already filtered to US only, I can go ahead and, if I want to, remove this field. So it's getting closer to what I want to have this data set be. I can go ahead also and change the names of the fields. So I can just change this to state, since we don't have any provinces now, it's just the United States. I can change English product name to just be product name. And I could also make some more changes as well. But at this, the point is you can make all these changes at this level here now. So I've made 7 changes in total. So I'm ready for my next step. I want to add another field, sorry, another data source that has a description for these product lines. Because right now it's just an abbreviated value, and I want to have it show the actual name of these product lines. So I have another file that has that information. Before I go any further, I want to save this flow. I'm just going to call it AdventureWorks. And say save. So I've got it saved now. So in addition to cleansing the data, I also want to add another step here that aggregates the data at the sales order level. So if I click on the plus sign beside raw data and say add aggregate, it's created another step in the flow for me. So what I'd like to do here is have the order total for each one of the orders. So if I take the sales order number as the grouped field, and the aggregated field will be sales amount. So now I've got sales order number, sales amount. This is the level of aggregation that I want for this sample. So I do recommend giving each one of these steps a meaningful name. So I'm just going to call this data cleansing. And this aggregate, I'm going to give it a name sales per order. Now let's say I want to add another step here to cleanse this a bit further, and I want to change sales amount to sales per order, and the sales order number, I just want to have it say the order number. Okay. I'm going to call this new field names. Next thing I want to do is I want to join the result of the cleansing I did and adding this aggregation. So I just drag the data cleansing up to the aggregation and drag it and drop it over new join. So it's recognized to join on order number and sales order number, which is what I want. This shows me the join type, inner join. If I want to make it a left outer join, I can just see what the results will be by doing that. And I think that's what I want to have in this case, a left join. So we'll leave it like this for now. One thing I'd like to point out about when you create a join in Tableau Prep, you can see some pretty meaningful information here. So I'm seeing the field names from each of the sources, and I'm seeing items in red that aren't matching up. And if I check on this box, show only mismatched values, I'm seeing the ones that don't match, and there's probably good reason for that. At this point, I'm not going to get into that because this purpose of this video is just to show you how this application works. So I do want to add a new data source now that has the product line information. So I go to connections and add a connection to a text file, and this happens to be on my D drive. Input file, so this product lines.txt. So the first, what it's asking me here is if the first line contains a header, the field separator. In this case, I can see by the preview here that this is correct, so I'm good here. Now I want to join product lines to the result of this join over here, so I can just bring this up, drag it, and say new join. It recognized the product line and product line code are the fields that I want to join. If it was different ones, I could select them here. So now so now we have this product line code and product line description. So this is good. I'm getting the result of the join that I want. It's an inner join. Now I'm going to create a new step to clean this data a little bit. There's a few fields that I don't need anymore. For instance, I don't need the product line code, so I can go ahead and remove this field. And there's another product line field in here that I don't need as well. Right here, I just need the description, so I can go ahead and remove the field right here. I'm just going to pause this and put some names to these items. So I've called this join up here with the aggregate amounts. I've added the product lines CSV file. The join I've just called joined to product lines, and the final result set I've just named final result set. So this is what we want to ultimately use in Tableau. So we want users of Tableau that need access to this data to use the result of every step that we've performed here. So I add a new step called output, and at this point I have a few options. I can save it to file, I can publish as a data source to Tableau server. I'm going to try both of these, but first I'm going to save it to file. I'm going to say that the type I want is a hyper file as opposed to a TDE, and I'm going to change the name of this. So I'm just going to call this AdventureWorks extract and say accept. And now what I want to do is run all flows. So this should create the hyperfile for me. I see that it's running. It's telling me the elapsed time. So we can see it completed in 19 seconds. Depending on the size of your data, these could take quite a while longer. But this is just an example of how these work. So I'm going to click on Done. Now if I browse to that folder, Documents, and I go into my Tableau prep repository and data sources, I will see this AdventureWorks.hyper. So I can just double click on this, and it's going to open up Tableau, and I'll have this data that I can work with. So there we can see we have Tableau open now. I have the extract, all the data that was the result of the work I did in Tableau prep. Now I'm going to go ahead and try and publish this to Tableau Server just to make sure that works as well. So I'm going to close, minimize Tableau Desktop. So we've created a hyper file locally. Now I want to publish to Tableau Server. I've already logged into the instance of Tableau Server I want to publish this to. Now I'm going to select the project that I have access to. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to give it a name. And I'm just going to go 2018-0429. That's the date I'm making this video. And I'm going to say run flow. I'm going to pause it while this finishes. While I had the video paused, Tableau Prep did finish the process, and what it automatically did was open up a browser window showing the data sources in my project that I selected. In this case, there's just one project. Now at this point I should be able to create a new workbook from here using Tableau Online. Just opening up the interface right now. While the video was paused, it loaded up a new workbook with web authoring from Tableau Server. So now I could just go in here and I could start bringing in fields and building out a dashboard if I want to using Tableau Server. So this is from the hyper file we created using Tableau Prep. So available both to save locally or on your network as a hyper or TDE file, or to publish to Tableau Server so that you can use it for further analysis. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, my name is Al Williams. I'm very new to this software. Again, it was just released this week. I plan to do a few more videos illustrating the functionality once I become more familiar. But I was very excited to see this, and I thought I'd create this initial video just to give you guys an idea of what Tableau has come up with. Thank you.